Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to everybody out there. I'm Justin B. I'm the son of an all-powerful, all perfectly loving God and a recovering addict, a member of multiple fellowships, and grateful to be here today with Nikki M, who is the spearhead agent of God's ever advancing creation. Nikki, why don't you take just a second and say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M, and I'm a member. I made a decision today to be a member of a 12-step program. That's a huge decision. I also made a decision to enter into a spirit world today. Like, this is a decision I want to make every day, is to walk in love and light, to take a seat at this table with you on Monday mornings. And I'm just grateful that God has gifted me with Justin B, because I can barely get my phone working this morning. I need him and his technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. And I can barely get my schedule together. But with God, all things are possible. We're able to do amazing things that are beyond our own ability, power, and resources when we bring God, our higher power, into these things. And I'm grateful that you and I can do that as we noodle things out. That's what this project is. It's the Noodle It Out with Nikki M podcast and project. And we take questions from everyday life, whether it's questions from ourselves, from our fellowship, from our sponsees, from people that we know in our lives, and take them to the Big Book to find a solution that works in tough going, that works when, other things just don't seem to work out. Today, Nikki, I'd like to bring a question to you that you brought up to me here, and this I really identify with this, and it's validation. I was telling you before we hit record, my job since my wife and I have been married, since Heather and I have been married 25 years now, has been the dishes. That's my job every day. And by the way, I hate it. I still don't love it. But every time I do the dishes, I want a parade thrown for me. I want Heather to come up and give me a big hug and say, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You are amazing." But that doesn't happen every day. So let's noodle out validation. What does that mean? And what does the book say about this?
Oh, that's a great question. And the reason it was so prevalent is I'm working with a woman. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to work much more because she refuses. Let's just go here real quick we use the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous for every problem. And I want to tell you why we do here at Rico 12 Noodle with Nikki, because page 42 of our big book says, quite as important was the discovery that spiritual principles would solve all my problems. It will solve all my problems, including this need to be validated. And that's what I'm trying. My sponsee current, she's been sober 5 months. She's been in the rooms for over a decade. And page 16, she literally refuses to see our way of life. She could not and would not see our way of life. This is a way of life. So this validation addiction, it's not, where's the rooms? Where's Validation Anonymous? It's in the rooms of every anonymous, because everyone puts down, this is what the book promises, Justin. It says God will do for you. So you will get over your alcoholism. You will get over the disease of, your drinking, your thinking, your porn addiction, your food addiction, your social media, all of that will disappear. But what are you left with here? Now you're left with this validation addiction. No one's noticing me. Well, as Justin said, that is your job to do the dishes. See, when you come into this program, your job is page 77 and page 102. Your job is to be of maximum helpfulness, and your purpose is to fit. And as we talked about on our other podcast, Justin, that we do with David, it's to be fit spiritual condition, so you can serve God and God's people. Like I would say to my boss when I had a job, I would, look what I did. She literally turned around one day and said, Nikki, you get paid to do that. So I'm not going to validate you or acknowledge that. And I got paid very well, Justin. I mean, I was in a union. I'm shocked. I need that job back if anyone's listening. I lost it in COVID and it no longer exists. Anyway, this is really powerful, this validation addiction, this need to be noticed. The book says on page 63, it is better to meet God alone. And I love that word alone. This is an inside job. Page 53 in our big book, page 55, Justin, in our big book. And I use a workbook, and Justin has that in the show notes. And in our step 2 in our workbook and on page 55, it says, deep down inside, every man, woman, and child is a fundamental idea of God. We found the great reality deep down within. So why do you want external acknowledgement? This is inside. This is this is radical, deep down inside. The great reality deep down within us. Search diligently within yourself. I mean, that page alone talks how many times about finding this power inside of you. So why are you looking for external validation? It doesn't exist. See, we were talking about on the Noodle meeting today, I want to go there. What were we talking about? I think it's on page 84. It's the step 10. And if everyone's not doing your step 10, you need to. 3 people came and witnessed. These people have been in program a long time. How the step 10, one woman's in year 22 of her recovery program. She's just realizing how important the step 10 is. See, the book clearly says more will be revealed. So on page 84, it says right here, we have entered the world of the spirit. Justin, what spirit do you know that needs validation? Like, let's go there real quick. Like, what spirit? Because we're entering a spirit world. I know a lot of humans.
Mhm.
I know a lot of rock stars because they do that Grammy thing, and they all need to get together and give themselves awards for being so beautiful and popular and having a top music song. Like, no, this is not, that's the human world. What spirit world, what spirit entity, what vibration, what energy, what frequency requires validation? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, I think that's the spirit of selfishness, self-centeredness that is, hey, look at me. Everybody look at me. Look what I did. And that's how I interpret it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's go here, page 18, because we do want to keep the book in us. It says right here on page 18 that we are to have no attitude of holier than thou. In my world, that means servant. I was getting out of my hot tub today going, do you know how much taxes I pay in Ontario, Toronto, Canada? I was like, I don't even have a job, thank God, because all of it goes to taxes. Okay, like I'm a serf. I'm a modern day peasant, everybody. Hi, I'm Nikki M. I'm a modern day serf. I'm a modern day peasant. If you live in Canada, a lot of our money goes to taxes, which is fine if the roads are fixed. They're not even plowed from the snow, Justin. Another issue for another day. But let's get back in here. I am to have no attitude of holier than thou. Servants don't get acknowledged. Go deep, go deep. It says nothing whatever except a sincere desire to be helpful. Nothing whatsoever, Justin. Oh, or was that in your vows? When I do the dishes, my wife is going to promise to validate me every time. Wait.
I wish it was. No, this is hilarious,
You see,
Nikki.
do you
Yeah.
see how silly? Like, this is why I love this show, this programming, this podcast with Justin, because it's like, let's noodle this insanity out. Oh, hey, look at me, everybody. I actually did my job that I get paid big money to do. You get paid big rewards to be your wife's husband. Let me just go deep. You got a new grandbaby there. I mean, that happened because you have a wife and and the generations but look at me, everybody. I did the dishes. Like, do you see how ridiculous this is? Like, we're in a spirit world. Talk to me about how ridiculous this thought is.
Nikki, you're stabbing me over and over again with truth. It's not. It's a healing stab, I think. But yeah, absolutely. What kind of selfishness and self-centered person do I need to be to expect a parade every time I take out the trash or do the dishes or vacuum or whatever it is that I'm doing? Um, that's not what I'm here for. And I want to go back to this thing that you said. A servant doesn't get acknowledged. This is so funny because God's timing is amazing. My wife and my daughters and I last night were watching one of those silly romantic like Jane Austen type movies the other night from times when in rich England when they had servants in their homes. And I was watching this and I was watching a certain scene where a servant was doing something amazing and kind and helpful, not because of being a servant, but whatever, for their master. And I thought that master has to look up and say, thank you so much for that. And didn't even get acknowledged. And yet the servant still continued to do the stuff. Now, is that the right way to treat people? I don't think so. But what is my expectation? I'm doing my job. I don't need to have somebody say, thank you, you're amazing. Now, I appreciate that. And I do try and say thank you to other people, but shouldn't be the expectation. Any other thoughts on that, Nikki?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said that, it's like this decision, the step 3 decision. That servant made a step 3 decision to do their job. Let's go through some key words. Wholeheartedly is what our book says. Says sincere. Says wholeheartedly. It says abandon yourself. Like, that's radical, especially when you take on the role of a husband, when you take on the role of being a sponsor, when you take on the role of being a child of God. I love what you said too. See, I'm really good when I'm become a better listener, I should say. I've practiced. You and I talked about this. It's a practice. Step 12. How do I get better at not wanting the validation? You practice. How do you get better at being disciplined about your schedule? You practice. How do you get disciplined about no expectations? You practice. Step 12. Practice, practice, practice. Go deeper. Page 8. Because you said this key word, master. And that word is on page 8. Alcohol was my master. Go deeper, everybody. Humans validating me, acknowledging me is my master. What you think of me is my master. Go deeper. What I think about me is my master. And it's back to what Justin keeps taking us back to on this podcast, page 62, which is selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of my trouble. It's not the alcohol. It's not the humans. It's not the taxes my government's forcing upon me more and more, this carbon tax, this climate change. What century, what planet am I on? Anyway, what is my master? See, love. If love is my master, why do I need any type of validation? I'm in a spirit world. Go deeper, everyone. You've entered the world of the spirit. It says our next function, page 84. Oh, here, let me read this to my friend. Let me stab my friend, Justin. And he's my brother. He's my friend. He's commencing shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to stab him. My next function is to get validation from doing the dishes. No, that's not what it says. Oh, wait, here. My next function is to get paid big money and to make sure I run to my boss and go, did you see what I did? That's not what the book says. The book says my next function is to grow in effectiveness. Sorry, understanding and effectiveness. I read that backwards every time. My next function is not to run out and make amends. I need to do that. But in order to do that, I have to do that by growing in understanding and effectiveness. My next function is not to run out and start controlling again and master manipulating the world and seeking likes and validations. And is anyone listening to mine and Justin's podcasts? And is anyone looking at how pretty I am and what I do for everybody? No, my next function is to understand and to be effective. This is radical, and this is where a lot of people die. Why, Justin? Let's go deeper. It's 2025. This technology, and you and I sponsor. We have children. You have a grandbaby that I'm borrowing until I get my own. This generation, if we don't get the likes, if someone doesn't respond quick enough, they don't like me. Did they even get my text message? What are they thinking about me? I'm thinking about what I said yesterday on that meeting, and that person said I was too loud. You understand, like this is a one thought, and these are a million thoughts in 1 second. But I'm not thinking enough about wholeheartedly serving God, being a spirit creature. Being a spirit creature. Like, remember, like someone took us here on the meeting today, and I loved it, and it happened so quickly. Even this half hour, this 20 minutes that we do goes by. Many of us, page 48, many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things made us bristle with antagonism. This sort of thinking had to be abandoned, everybody. This sort of thinking, you're sort of thinking that you need outside external validation, that you need outside external anything. Go deeper. Thought life, thinking. This is really serious, like spirit world. I talked about it today, Justin. I don't think you made it to Noodle. You have a busy day and busy morning. But today I talked about some of the books, because our big book on page 87 says, see where religious people are right. Not where they're wrong, where they're right. So I like this big book, this great book called the Bible. They left out some books. If you go deeper, if you do your research, if you grow in effectiveness and understanding, there's a book called the Book of Thomas that they left out. There's books called the Dead Sea Scrolls that aren't even in there. Go into how mystical and magical a guy named Yeshua was. They didn't have J's back then. Like, you got to dive deep. Spirit world. And we just think it starts at, honey, validate me. I've washed the dinner dishes. Like, this goes deep. Any thoughts? And then we should probably close it out. I mean, I could go on and on about, I want to go here and then get to this final thought too, Justin, because you really did take us here when you were talking last time. You said page 420. Let's just read it. And no, my marijuana addicts out there listening, this is not the kind that you roll up and you smoke. You live this free. No expectations. Perhaps the best thing of all for Justin and Nikki and our validation addicts to remember is that our serenity is inversely proportional to our expectations of people noticing us, are expectations that you should see what I do for you. The expectations that my wife, my family, my husband, my children, this is radical. Go down further. Justin and I can watch our serenity level rise when we discard our need, our expectations, our validation addiction. See, how important is it really when you've entered a spirit world? How important is it really? We're entering a spirit world, everybody. Go deep. This is 12 steps all day, every day. We have to be in a spirit world. How important is it compared to my emotional sobriety of living in a spirit world? See, I can't put anything, Justin, before living in a spirit world. I mean, this is radical. I'm getting weird today, but I don't mind, because you're getting weird wanting validation for washing the damn dishes, you grown man.
It's so funny, and every time I announce myself in a Rico 12 podcast, it's typically, "Hey, I'm Justin. I'm a son of an all powerful and perfectly loving God." And that's all the validation I need. If there is I'm the son of a king. If there is a king with a capital K that calls me their son, what else do I need, man? What else do I need? And that's enough, I think. But man, self sure gets loud and says, "You need a parade every once in a while for doing the dishes." And that's not where that is. So, Nikki, any final thoughts before I close this out?
Well, God will always do for you. The step 9 promises are real. In the step 9 promises of our book, I think it's page 83, 84. I don't quote me, anybody. It's 9, 10, or 11 times it says will do. Doesn't say might do, doesn't say could do, it says will do. And we were talking about seeing where religious people or spiritual people are right. My dad's a Rastafari, and there's a song, a reggae song. It's called "If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid?" There's nothing to be afraid of. If we have God, if we have this power, if we have page 163, never forget you have tapped an inner resource. It doesn't say it on that page, but we have tapped power. On another page, it says inner resource. So there's nothing we need but to remember what Justin said. I am the daughter of the creator of the universe. Laser designed. I love that thought, Justin. Thank you. And if you need me on your God squad to remind you that you don't need any special ticket tape parade because you wash the dishes, you'll find my number. I'm out there. I'll remind you, just like I reminded my friend Justin, you are not going to get recognized for washing that pot and pan. I love you, Justin.
Thank you, Nikki. Everybody, I don't know what else to add to that. There's nothing else to add. Keep coming back. It works when I work it, so work it. You are worth it.